Near-death experiences. A near-death experience, NDE, is people who have left the body and were resuscitated after being clinically dead. It is a profound, subjective, and often life-transforming experience reported by individuals close to death, such as during cardiac arrest, trauma, or deep anesthesia. Common elements include out-of-body sensations, intense peace, moving through a tunnel of light, and reviewing one's life. What does mainstream science say about NDEs? Scientists begrudgingly accept that NDEs are real, however, they assert that they are subjective experiences produced by a dying or malfunctioning brain rather than evidence of an afterlife. They attribute phenomena like white light, out-of-body sensations, and euphoria to oxygen deprivation, hypoxia, neurotransmitter release chemicals such as, e.g., dopamine, and random neural firing. In-depth detail of their arguments. Brain malfunction. The brain, under extreme stress or oxygen deprivation, can produce hallucinations and intense sensations that feel profoundly real, similar to dreams or altered states induced by drugs. Cultural factors. The content of NDEs, tunnels, angels, figures, is often shaped by the person's cultural, religious, and/or personal preconceptions, rather than being a universal, objective truth. Physical explanations. Out-of-body experiences are considered disturbances in bodily multisensory integration. The tunnel effect may be caused by peripheral vision failing due to reduced blood flow to the retina. Not actual death. NDEs happen when a person is nearly dead, e.g., heart stopped, but not biologically deceased, leaving room for brain activity. Psychological coping. The experience may be a biological or psychological defense mechanism during a terrifying, life-threatening situation. What do open-minded scientists, researchers, say in response, rebuttal, to those arguments? 1. Against hypoxia, oxygen starvation. The clarity argument. Oxygen deprivation usually causes delirium, confusion, agitation, and garbled memory. NDEs are characterized by hyperlucidity, where thinking is faster and clearer than in normal life. The comparison. Studies comparing NDEs to patients who suffered simple hypoxia show that the experiences are fundamentally different. Hypoxic hallucinations are often frightening and fragmented, while NDEs are structured and peaceful. 2. Against neurochemical surges, DMT/ketamine endorphins. The subjective difference. Researchers argue that while ketamine can cause out-of-body sensations, it rarely produces the structured life review or the consistent light found in NDEs. The complexity problem. They point out that for a dying brain to coordinate a complex, logical narrative under the influence of chemicals is highly unlikely. Most drug-induced trips are chaotic. NDEs are described as more real than real. 3. Against multisensory integration failure. Theoretical perception. This theory suggests the brain just misfires and loses track of the body's position. Researchers counter with cases where patients accurately reported visual details from outside the room or from a bird's-eye view, e.g., specific tools used or a sneaker on a hospital roof, that they could not have known through a simple sensory glitch. The perspective gap. If the brain is failing to integrate senses, the result should be sensory confusion, not a perfectly coherent 360-degree visual awareness. 4. Brain death versus clinical death. The timing issue. Atheist scientists argue NDEs happen right before or right after the heart stops. Researchers counter with EEG data from cardiac arrest cases, like those in the AWARE study. They argue that within 10 to 20 seconds of the heart stopping, the brain's electrical activity goes flat. The flatline consciousness. Researchers highlight cases where patients had NDEs during long periods of cardiac arrest when the brain was demonstrably inactive. They argue a silent brain shouldn't be able to form the most intense memories of a person's life. Let's look at some near-death experiences that people have experienced. An account from Dr. Eben Alexander, a hardcore materialist who was a neurosurgeon for 15 years. Who also dismissed NDEs as hallucinations before he had his own NDE. At 4:30 a.m. on November 10, 2008, I suddenly became very ill with acute bacterial meningoencephalitis. Within 4 hours, I was deep in coma. I spent the next 7 days comatose, on a ventilator. Bacterial meningitis with such a rapid decline in neurologic function conferred a 90% mortality rate, as assessed at the time of my initial ER evaluation, but my prospects for survival rapidly worsened. My physicians at Lynchburg General Hospital in Virginia were shocked to find that I had acquired spontaneous E. coli meningitis, which has less than a 1 in 10 million annual incidence, they were aided by experts at the University of Virginia, Duke, Massachusetts General Hospital, and beyond in th.